Well, I got involved in Voices several years ago because I was incredibly frustrated. At the beginning of the Iraq War, I was feeling, man, there's just nothing that we can do to stop this. This incredible violent conflict is just going to erupt, and there will be death and devastation and horror and nightmare and trauma, and we can't do anything about it. And we couldn't actually in the short term. But for me, Voices started as a question: what could we do in the long term to create the conditions in which war wasn't just an inevitable part of the human landscape? And part of the answer that we came up with was, well, it's about stories, it's about poetry, it's about helping witnesses to war, both soldiers and civilians who've seen it and been there, to tell what happened to them, to come back to the rest of us and say, here's what it was like, and here's what I experienced.
There was a day in Iraq, we were on patrol, and we came around a bend, and a man jumped out into the street with a pistol and started firing at us. I stopped, or our vehicle stopped, and I looked behind me, and I raised my weapon and pulled the trigger, and nothing happened. My gun jammed. I pointed a 50 cal towards the group of people this guy was standing in, and I fired a burst, and people died. And we tried chasing him, and he darted in and out of houses. We chased him for hours. But before that, we pulled up into this open area, and across the open area in the Wadi, I saw he had to be 17, running. And he was dressed in black. And in Iraq, we after stuff happened, we shot at a lot of stuff, and especially men dressed in black. And he runs through my mind like every day now, because he was just running. And I ended it, and that's something I have to carry with me for the rest of my life. I don't know really what to say. I just know that what we're doing here is the start of something that's really powerful and really amazing, and all of you need to go talk to other people and tell them what you heard here.
And I think we've learned that one story calls forth another story. You hear a story, and you have your own story. And especially when young people are enabled to tell their own stories and learn to tell stories by listening to the stories of others, that something happens to the imagination. And history is no longer just an inevitability that somebody else creates. History is what I can shape and create in my life and in my community.
Beautiful land, Afghanistan. I remember having fun with friends. I remember my dad's wish and hope for me become a doctor to help the people. I remember the promise of a friend. We'll never leave each other until the end. The friend who understood my feelings and thoughts. The one whose heart was as clean as a mirror. I remember the death of my best friend that happened because of war.
My life is like a house. It just falls down when people destroy, but it is always steady on its feet.
Now in the busy city with a lot of rain, I try to forget my past life, my people who were killed and lost their lives. This is my life. It happened for a reason. A life I am happy.
But it's my pleasure and my honor to go to talk to students because I think of the wars that this country has been involved in, women have been involved in all of them. And their stories are usually forgotten, and they're certainly not a part of the histories, the official histories of the wars. So I've taken it upon myself to go to classrooms and to talk to students and help them to learn.
My name's Mary Wilkinson, and I go to school at Edmonds Community College. I am taking an English research writing class, and we're focusing on genocide and specifically the path away from genocide. As a young woman, it's important to secure my future and my children's future, and so I think that by knowing how things began, we can figure out how to stop it before they begin again.
So I think the hope of Voices is like, at least for me, the hope is if we know how to tell stories, how to listen to stories, how to use our own voices, then we can reshape the future. And war doesn't have to just happen to us. We can shape a peaceful future.
The biggest thing I think I'm going to take out of this classroom into the world is compassion in my heart, and compassion for the people that have been through a lot and are still living today, and the ones especially that are not living today. And just being knowledgeable and aware of all that so that I can try to help and try to put my word and my voice into a bigger circle so we can start making people aware of, that this world, with the help of one another and each other, we can really make a difference.
As you've just heard, one voice is really important to us, but the voices of many are a gift. One of the things that they do for us is to give us inspiration, to really question our wisdom, to look, to see that war is not inevitable, that the future is something that can be different for us. Consider joining Voices and the efforts that we have in schools, working with students, and working with veterans.
He's amazing. He's in the 4th grade in a Michigan school. Cameron Penny wrote this. He said, "If you are lucky in this life, a window will appear on a battlefield between two armies. And when the soldiers look into the window, they don't see their enemies. They see themselves as children. And they stop fighting and go home and go to sleep. When they wake up, the land is well again."